A 4x4 tears through the forest down a thin mud road. The radio inside is louder than the engine, beeping and squawking with indecipherable chatter. The driver smiles and giggles at his passenger, who yells into the receiver. The woman at the end of the line shouts back. They thunder along, speeding from corner to corner, until the road ends abruptly. The bridge, that was there the day before, has been wiped away by the river. Just like the doctor said. The 4x4 rides over the edge, tumbling down into the ravine below, radio and men squealing throughout the descent. The group are also in a vehicle, though they travel rather less rapidly. They sit in silence, not one of them knowing where to go or what to do. Ezra tries to assert himself. He asks where they could get help from. Where can they find some assistance? But the guards are clueless. It isn't their country. They don't know anyone around here.
Maybe she knows,
Ezra proposes. Kay rolls his eyes. With a long sigh, he asks the girl if there is anywhere they can find help. To his surprise, she says yes. There is another village further down the river, but they don't like her or her people. It's dangerous there.
They were part of my village, then they separated from us. Now they follow this old woman. My people say she's evil, like a witch,
the girl says. While they talk and discuss traveling to the village, the doctor wriggles and writhes. They threw him in the boot of the car, still bound by Ezra's tie. Now his hands have been worked free. All he has left to do is open the boot lid and escape. The willing passengers make a choice. They decide to go to the village that Malika speaks of. There is safety in numbers, after all. They have to drive back to her home and keep heading down the river. They make the decision when the boot flies open and the old man leaps from the vehicle, all in a matter of seconds. He hits the mud track, body rolling over and over. The fellow stands, then he hobbles off into the jungle.
"Crazy motherfucker,"
Kay shouts. It is quite a shock to see an elderly man hopping from a moving vehicle. What made it all the weirder was that the man was giggling, apparently unfazed by the event. Ezra slows the car. He jumps out and slams the boot lid shut. A quick look around the area doesn't reveal any clues as to where the man has run, just a divot in the road where he landed. So he jumps back in the car, puts it in gear, and makes for Malika's village. Back in the call center, there is another knock at the manager's door. He beckons the woman, waving her into the room. She steps inside to see the man deep in thought, reading the reports that are stacked up on his desk.
"Sorry, the team we sent to check up on that missing village in the mining colony, well, we lost connection with them."
"They probably dipped into a valley. You know what it's like out there. Difficult to get signals sometimes," the manager says.
"Yes, but the signal was fine until they screamed, then the radio cut out."
The manager peers up from his work, a slightly worried look on his face. He grabs the receiver and shouts down the line, "Get me HRP! Quickly, woman!" The clerical assistant lingers at the door. She has watched the man age working this role. At one point she was quite attracted to him, when he had first arrived, but the stress has changed him, mentally and physically. His happiness is gone, and his hair has started to grey. Now all she felt was pity. "Could you get me a coffee? 3 sugars, he says. Ezra's car pulls into Malika's village. It throws trails of dust high into the air. The sun has started its descent from the sky. Evening is coming. The car brakes, giving them some time to look over at the settlement. Nothing has changed. It remains empty. No fires, no animals, no people. They peer out of the windows, hoping to see any signs of life. After a few seconds they roll on. From the jungle's edge, something watches them leave. Red eyes glow in the shadows, unblinking and savage. The group pull away from the village. The trails of dust fly up behind them again, and the eyes in the jungle disappear into the gloom. The man who claims to be a doctor sits astride a boulder at the edge of the compound. He looks down at the mining camp, surveying it slowly. The fire has subsided now, but the smoke still fills the air. He wipes the sweat from his brow, and then starts to run down the slope. The huge chain-link fence is torn. The old man scrambles through it with little regard. He enters, crossing the car parks and running into the main building. Signs point him to the security room, up the stairs and along the ruined corridors. A window runs along the wall. It looks out over the vast jungle. Old man stops near it to take in the view. He sees the plumes of dust from the group's vehicle. A grin appears on his face. Then he turns and hobbles off towards the security area. Fire burns. The inferno reaches up into the canopy, touching the limbs of the trees. The headdress and forehead of an old lady emerge above it. Villagers circle her. A mass of people fill the clearing, all of them staring at the woman. She sits on a wicker rug. The floor around her is littered with statues and wooden carvings. Her eyes peer into the fire, never blinking. Her mouth moves, speaking sporadically, though the blaze, its crackling and splitting, makes it impossible to hear her. Giant flames rip through the light brush that feeds it. The woman takes objects from a pouch around her neck and throws a handful of red powder and a few leaves into the fire. The red flames become green and blue. Then the crowd contracts. The fire is kicked and spat on, and the embers trodden into the ground. The old woman sits amongst the chaos, smiling intensely. Behind her, the group's car emerges from the foliage. The crowd of villagers walk away, leaving the woman sitting alone. She looks at Malika. Malika stares back. This is the first time she had met with the witch.
The land is not bearing fruit. Our rivers have changed color. The water dyes our clothes and poisons our young. Rain falls in the dead heat of summer from clouds of ash. I know this place, but it is becoming unrecognizable.
They listen. Only Malika comprehends. The woman keeps talking about the changes in the land, the torrential rivers that appear and disappear as if by magic, and the strange people that run around attacking her villagers. Malika asks her about the ritual that her father performed. Why did he have to kill that girl? Does she know?
Your father, he was taught the ways, the methods. What he did was needed. It was the only way to appease the gods. There is only one way to feed the land. There is only one way to make it well. You must spill the blood of the purest, the life-giver.
I couldn't, Malika shouts.
You will, if you want to save us. If you want to save this land, this is the only way. The path has already been chosen. Don't worry. I have a girl ready. She knows what is needed of her.
Old woman gets up and exits the hut. The men don't know if they should follow her or stay with Malika, looking at each other, clueless. The girl sits, stunned into inaction, ideas and visions rushing through her mind. Eventually they leave, with Malika trailing behind the group. Outside, the entire tribe stands waiting for their leader. They watch closely, all eyes on the group of outsiders. Apart from them, standing alone near Ezra's car, is a young girl. She wears a beige dress, with a crown of vines and flowers on her head. As the outsiders approach, she smiles, with polite regard, bowing slightly. They smile back. Only Malika knows her fate.
This innocent child is so willing, so accepting. It makes her ache. I won't do it. I can't. Malika shouts, turning back to the villagers. It's the only way to stop the evil that sours our land. If you don't take her, we will be forced to perform the ritual ourselves. I don't think it will work, but I'm happy to try. If it means being the savior to my people. Malika's face contorts into a grimace. She does not know the old woman. She has only heard stories, but she is very sure that the woman is insane. The young girl looks apprehensive as the group near the vehicle. Malika takes her hand and leads her to the back seat. The rest of the group jump in too. Ezra starts the car and begins to pull away. Then the old woman appears in front of them, arms stretched out wide. What the fuck is she doing? Howls Kay. When the gods are watching, when the eyes of the sun and the eyes of the moon peer down, you must act. You must perform the rite. They must see our actions to judge our resolve. The words hang in the air, chiming in the ears of all who hear it. The woman wanders away, back into the crowd of villagers. Now the group can leave, dust trails again rising into the air in long plumes. The villagers watch them go. Everything goes quiet. No one moves. Then, under her breath, the old woman speaks and gestures towards the forest. The crowd move quickly, running, hot on the trail of Malika and her companions. A truck full of men lumbers through the jungle. It churns up the mud with its knobbled tires. In the back they pack their equipment into bags and prepare to depart from the vehicle. The men throw cans and tools to each other. Some stand to put their packs on. All of a sudden the vehicle grinds to a full stop, throwing the men and their paraphernalia into the divider between the cab and the sitting area. They shout at the driver. He responds, "No more road!" Some of the men hop out to address the scene. One of them whistles in awe at the destruction. The river has destroyed the road, tearing the bridge away from the cliff edge, leaving no easy way to approach the area. Only a ravine filled with spiked plants and jagged stones. You want us to hike in, sir? We can find a way around, some of them ask. No. Radio in. Tell them to send in a heli crew. They accept their superior's orders. The situation is explained to the person down the line. Within a few minutes they return to their superior. They said to hike in. Fuck it then. Pack up, lads. We're going in, he shouts. The men climb into the van and prepare to depart. Malika and the sacrificial girl sit together in the back of the car. The girl smiles pleasantly. She is excited, never having been in a vehicle before. The speed is exhilarating. Ezra looks into the rear view mirror. He sees the two girls. It seems strange. Why have they brought a teen girl with them? What's she doing with us? Are we taking her somewhere? She's a virgin. The old witch was saying the only way to stop all the weird shit is to kill her, Kay says between drags of his cigarette. We're not killing anyone, okay? Ezra shouts. I know that, arsehole. Kay replies quickly. We're taking her so that they won't kill her, dumbass. Ezra stares back into the mirror. He can see that Malika is crying. He wants to put his arm around her, to reciprocate the care that she gave him. Now the young girl looks nervous. She questions Malika, tugging at her arm, asking her where she is being taken. I'm not sure, but I have to take you away from your village. We'll help you, and then you can go wherever you want. We can go to my village. Malika tries to explain. Why would you take me to your village? I don't want to go there. We won't hurt you. Not like the people in your village. They want to...
Malika remembers the truth of the situation.
They want to what? They want to use you for a ritual. They say it'll save us all from evil, but I'd never do that. You must believe me.
Malika says.
Let me out. Let me go free.
The young girl starts to scream, pulling at the door handle.
You can't leave. They'll kill you.
Malika knows that if she lets the girl run free, the villagers will go through with the ritual. Letting her go is like performing the rite herself. Letting her go is a death sentence. Malika doesn't believe in the ritual. It's madness. It can't be true. Even if it was, she couldn't kill a child, or any human for that matter.
Someone's coming,
Ezra says. The girl still screams behind him. His words aren't heard, muffled by the bleating of the young teen. Then they hear a car horn. A 4x4 hurtles at them. The two vehicles brake, sliding past each other, only inches between them, horns blazing. They spin around to see who is driving the other car. From the driver's door they spot him. The doctor jumps from the 4x4 and runs at them, a rifle in his arms.
Shit! Get down! Get down!
Shouts Musso. They all follow his orders, ducking down into the footwells. Fear quickly leaves them, though, as they see the old man run past the vehicle, proceeding down the track in the direction of the strange woman's village. He laughs in a jovial manner as he jogs on by. After a minute they relax, rising up out of the footwells. Kafwimbi gets out of the car and tries to move the doctor's 4x4. The road is slim, with banks on either side. It's difficult to pass, but he manages to force it out of the way. He jumps back in the car, and they roll on down the dirt track. The old man, further on down the track, runs happy with the thought that he is safe. He chuckles to himself. This is the first thing that the villagers hear. They ready themselves, raising their knives and spears. Then the man streaks past them, oblivious to the mass of people dotted in the shrubbery around him. In the confusion they let him run past. The tribesfolk didn't expect to see a white man run through the jungle with a rifle in his hands. The villagers still have their weapons raised when they hear something. All around them the animals call. The forest hums. Trees sway gently. But they hear another sound, like a vibration in the earth, like many feet moving together. Then the tribes see the jungle move. Leaves tremble. Branches bend and snap. From the bushes burst a swathe of psychopathic humans. They gallop forward, hatred bare on their faces, some on 2 feet, some on all fours. They scream and howl and claw like animals. Gnashing teeth, stained and broken, bite at the air. The villagers hold fast, ready to strike these attackers down with their weapons, but the advancing maul of men and women show no fear. The two crowds meet. Blood instantly erupts into the air. The spray of arterial plasma breaches from the throat of a tribesman as the first attacker hits their lines. The surrounding men hack and stab at the crazed, howling man-beast. Flesh tears away from its bones, but the thing keeps gnawing at the tribesman's neck, maintaining a firm grip with its jaw. A wave of these maddening men crash into the villagers. Bodies fall and the screams of pain start, only to be cut short as their throats and vocal cords are torn apart. Over the sounds of death come the howls and carnal grunting of the ravenous creatures, their song carrying on the breeze. One of the tribesmen runs from the melee, dropping his short spear in the grass. The creature nearest him sees the distraught man and barks out a strange animal call. Now the pack look up from their victims. The chase is on. They pursue the man, leaving the terminal tribesmen, coughing up crimson bile and gripping at their torn throats. Long paths of blood make up a figure, similar to a hieroglyph, amongst the leaf litter. Entrails bulge from the stomachs of the dead men, spilling foul bodily waste. The gore and liquid soaks into the soil, saturating it, feeding the thirsty land.